Okay, so I've described my process for finding scientific articles. But sometimes, even though something is presented as a scientific article, doesn't mean it is scientific, and it definitely doesn't always mean that it's credible information. So here are just like two sort of like gut checks you can do to make sure that what you're reading is credible information. This isn't 100% foolproof, but it'll hopefully weed out most of the nonsense. So you've gone to PubMed, you've searched your thing, you found an article you want to read, you click on the article. Your goal, whether it's before or after you've read the paper, is now to determine whether or not the information in it is credible. You want to see if the person writing it has a financial or emotional investment in you believing this thing beyond just like all scientists want you to believe science. And number two, do other scientists support what this person's saying? So to do the first one, you're going to look for conflicts of interest, and there's two good ways to look for a conflict of interest. My favorite is when they just tell you. So how I found that was I just clicked on this article, I'm on this page, I just scrolled down a little bit. And when I scrolled down a little bit, I found this conflict of interest statement. And it just told me that these authors do have a conflict of interest. Now that doesn't always mean that the information is not credible, but if two people are telling me different things and one of them has a conflict of interest and one of them doesn't, I'm gonna believe the one that doesn't have a conflict of interest. Now, I also clicked on this article, and this is the whole thing that popped up. It does not have a conflict of interest statement. So how do I figure out if these authors might have a conflict of interest? I'm going to click on that full text links. It's going to give me a link. I'm going to click on it. It brings me here. For some reason, I'm going to click on the download PDF, which will give me the full article. So now I'm at the full article. Research articles are not always, usually any credible research article is required to have a conflict of interest statement. So I scroll all the way down and I find acknowledgements. If the authors have a conflict of interest, it should be stated in the acknowledgements, or it will have its own separate category that says conflict of interest and then list it. They just acknowledge their funding source, which has no investment in you believing things one way or another. So this is a safe article. The other thing you can do is go up here to the show details button, and you can see where all of these people work. And if it said something like, "We hate sugar LLC," that would be a red flag. So that's how you check for conflicts of interest. Now, how do you know if like other scientists support what this person's saying? For that, we use something called the peer review process, which is incredibly important to scientific integrity. I do not have long enough to describe how important it is. Credible journals use the peer review process, but not all journals use the peer review process. But this is super easy to check. Go to the internet, search, is blank journal peer reviewed? And if it says yes, you're good.